And welcome back to Pokemon Team Creation Series. Today's Pokemon team comes to us from Eric, who asked the question, what is number 5's from the Kids Next Door KND's Pokemon team? We've gone through them all, folks, the original Kids Next Door, number 1 through 4, and now we're on 5, and that kind of rounds out the Kids Next Door. There are other Kids Next Door's characters. If they are suggested, of course I'll do a team on them, but this is the last of the original. Oh, God. Abigail Lincoln, I believe is her actual name. Number 5. Hold on. Real name is, Abigail or Abby Lincoln. She was, apparently, now here's a bunch of stuff I did not know about, because it's been so long since I've watched Kids Next Door. She was actually the original leader of Sector 5, not number 1. She actually gave the role over to number 1, after some incident, and then later on when he joined the Galactic Kids Next Door, she became the temporary leader again until she ultimately replaced 365 as the supreme leader. So she's probably the most mature and level-headed among all of them. She's also the oldest too. And there's a lot that goes on with this character that really stands out. One of the big things I always knew about this character and found funny was her love of candy. She is a sugar freak, and she goes on many explorations and adventures to get sugar and candy and ice cream. She has actually a psychic connection with ice cream, and that will be addressed later on. But for now, we're talking about her love of candy itself. So I knew I needed stuff that represented sweets, sugar, and candy. Luckily, we have a cupcake Pokemon, Slurpuff, and we have a vanilla ice cream Pokemon, and Vanillix. And I've never liked this Pokemon. Yeah, I mean, don't take its stats and how strong it is out of the equation. Take that out of the equation, seriously. This design is stupid. It is so stupid. But regardless, of course, someone who is a sugar fiend is going to have sugar ice cream based Pokemon, particularly where we love her ice cream. But beyond that, I wanted a mon on this team that I knew would be an aid to her in her ice cream adventures. Now, because she has an actual psychic connection, psychic link to ice cream, this proves to be a little bit trickier than you might think. Because my first idea is, okay, Pokemon has a psychic link to something. Well, I went through the entire roster and I realized, as far as I can tell, there is no psychic Pokemon species, mind you, that has a specific link that has a link to anything specific in the Pokemon world, to the best of my knowledge. You do a Celebi specifically at the time, but not like a specific item. The best you could maybe argue is Alakazam or Kadabra. They're linked to their spoons. So I'm like, okay, well, why don't we go to the psychic Pokemon that has like a big appetite or something like that could be used in that vein. But there isn't even a psychic Pokemon that represents that. So I knew something psychic had to be on the team. I'm just like, okay, what? Besides the fact that, she's got a connection to ice cream, she's also among the most intelligent operatives of Sector 5, maybe even the most. She's actually an honor student. So I'm thinking, like, well, why don't we think about a psychic Pokemon that would be good for traveling, that would be good for, aiding her in adventures, to going to different locations. For her, her ice cream, her ice cream shenanigans. And I'm like, okay, that's something I can work with. That's something where I hate this new thing. Sorry, I'm just adjusting images, and it just keeps doing that, and I don't understand why. Anyway, and so I'm like, okay, a traveling psychic Pokemon. She was the leader. She's intelligent. I ultimately came down to the decision to use Latias. Now, it makes sense. It's freaking plane. It is an airplane Pokemon. You can fly on her. She is not going to Mega Latias, not because she probably couldn't have a strong enough bond with it, just because I didn't feel it'd be necessary. Should note as well, every Mon on her team is, as far as we know, hint, hint, there is a new Gen 9 Pokemon on here. As far as we know, a fully evolved Pokemon. Because she was once the leader, because she's the most mature, I do believe, despite the fact she's a kid, I do believe she would be someone that does raise her Pokemon to their potential. Add on the fact that, yeah, she's a kid, but you're a kid in the game when you raise your Pokemon, so this all evens out perfectly. And it matches her hat. So, you know what? I think it works. The next one, honestly, I felt it just was a filler. It needs something to fill in gaps. And that goes to Lucario. Lucario also matches her shirt, matches her hair. But more importantly, I needed something to kind of represent the fact that she is a leader. And I get vibes of leadership when I look at Lucario. Add on the fact that she's also a very skilled combatant in her own right. And you still have Aura, which can translate to her psychic sensing of Ice Cream. I think Lucario can make a relatively positive member on the team. There are two other aspects that when I looked down her list that I'm like, oh, okay, we can work with this. She apparently has a very nice singing voice, and she's excellent at art. She's a very artistic person in Operation Macaroni. We find that out. So I'm like, okay, singing. What can I use with that? And for me, when we're talking about you could use sing or disarming voice, but for me, I honestly just, I think I know what's going on here, and it's really annoying me. It didn't used to do this. And that would be Primarina. Primarina, again, color coding, there you go. But Primarina literally has a attack that's singing, a sparkling aria, if you will. It's also a very feminine Pokemon. Even though she is a tomboy, it still would match there. For some reason, this stuck in my head very much so when going over the list of Mon that could have singing abilities. I could go Brioni. That is all dependent on if Brioni can learn Sparkling Aria or not. Because if it can't learn the technique, then there actually isn't much a point in basically giving her that part of the evolutionary chain. Brioni, let me just check to see real quick if it can in fact learn Sparkling Aria. I don't think it can. But let's find out here. No, it cannot. It cannot learn Sparkling Aria. It can learn Disarming Voice, so I mean that is you could and Hyper Voice, so you can make those excuses, I suppose. I don't really justify it myself, but look, I won't argue with someone who could try to justify it, being the fact that the problem is though is that Primarina is definitely a feminine Pokemon. I would not go so far as to say it's a girly-looking Pokemon, or stereotypically girly. Brioni kind of is, because it's based off like a pop singer, so I would not go that route. But at least this is the last Mon, and this is, as you can tell, based on who I have here, or don't have here, this is the last this is the Gen 9 Mon, and this goes to Arts and Craft. When I heard that she was artistic, I knew that I needed a Mon on the team that was artistic. And there used to only really be one Mon for that, and that was Smeargle. But thanks to recent events, we now have Grafaiai, and you can just tell, like, modern, like, art styles with Mons. At this point, it just changed over how, like, different that actually looks comparatively to these. But look, Grafaiai, and it actually makes more sense what we have with Grafaiai. Grafaiai basically finger paints, which, granted, the kids next door are, like, in their early formative years, like 10, then they're tween years, if you will, 9 to 10ish. But so the arts and crafts, like say, like finger paint, might not really be up their alley. But the fact of the matter is that what we see in that trailer for Grafaiai, this would make sense towards artistic, abilities. And I like it too. It adds a different flavor onto her team. You can make an argument that her knowledge of candy could go towards poisoning in some way. And it's also got kind of a punky look to it, which I think number 5 would rock that. So definitely maybe not perfect match. You could, if you want to rotate this out for Smeargle, I would not complain about it personally. But yeah, ultimately that would be the team. Now, it turns out this is actually one of the much more balanced teams I've had recently on the show, because we have an ice type, which is it's times 2 weak to fire, fighting, and rock, if I'm not mistaken. Got 2 fairy types, which are only really weak to steel and poison. You got 1 water type, which is also a fairy type. You got 1 dragon and psychic type. You got 1 steel and fighting type, and a normal and poison type. That is a very balanced out team. There's only 1 repeat, and that 1 repeat does have a double typing to it. So this is a very balanced team. I can't see anything on this team really doing much Like, there's no one type that's gonna just steamroll through this team, from what I can tell. It has a little trouble with poison, but nothing too severe. It's got a little trouble, and I mean just barely any trouble, with fighting. Because the fighting type, the steel type of Lucario and the normal type of Grafaiai aren't good for that, but at the same time, it's counteracted by the other typings they have. Fighting would make that more neutral, as does the poison. Fairy actually has no problem against. Fairy does not want to go up against this team. Frankly, the only thing Fairy's strong against on this team is Latias. Dark, nope. Dark has no advantage on this team at all. Steel, okay. This team does have maybe a slight difficulty with Steel, but it is mitigated to some extent with Lucario, provided the Steel type doesn't have like a Psychic or something that would make it resistant to fighting type moves. So Steel would be a bit of a problem with this team. Dragon's not an issue. You have two different fairies there, plus an ice. I'm just thinking of any other type that might have like some strength. Honestly, no. This is like I said, this is a very balanced team. Ultimately, of course, this is just my opinion too. Let me know in the comments below what you think. If you feel different, cool. If not, cool. What would you do for a team if you would do something different? Let me know in the comments below. But until then, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.